Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're diving into Google AI Studio and the Gemini API.
That's right.
We've looked through, the official Google stuff, the documentation, but also this really interesting YouTube video, a user perspective, someone actually building things with it.
Yeah, Wanderloots. Gives a nice hands-on feel.
Exactly. So our mission today is basically to get a handle on what this platform is, what it can actually do, and why it might be useful for you, whether you're a developer, maybe a content creator, or just kind of AI curious.
Mm-hmm. And Google AI Studio, well, they describe it as the fastest way to start building with their Gemini models.
Gemini, right? The next-gen AI family, multimodal stuff.
Exactly. Think of the studio as like a playground in your browser for experimenting with these pretty powerful AI tools.
Okay, a playground. So how do you, play? What are the main ways to interact? I think I saw two main methods mentioned.
Yeah, basically two main paths. Chat prompts and structured prompts.
Okay, chat prompts sound,
Yeah.
well, chatty,
Right.
just talking to it.
Pretty much. They're really good for building conversational things like, chatbots or assistants. You give it instructions, maybe some examples of how the chat should go.
Yeah.
You can even upload files, images, videos, that kind of thing to give it context.
Oh, interesting. So you could give it a PDF manual or something.
Exactly. Or product info for a customer service bot. You sort of guide the conversation.
Right. That makes sense. And the structured prompts sounds a bit more rigid.
Well, yeah, more controlled, maybe.
Yeah.
They're better when you need the output to be in a very specific format.
Like for data or something.
Yeah, or like generating product descriptions that all follow the same style. You'd set up a table with examples. Here's the input, here's the output I want.
Ah, I see. So you show it the pattern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The model learns that structure. Super useful for consistency, like generating marketing copy that always hits certain points.
Got it. Okay, that covers the main interaction types. But there was also something about tuning models. Sounds more involved.
It is, yeah. Tuning is definitely more advanced. It's where you take a base Gemini model and you refine it further for a very specific task.
By giving it more examples.
Exactly. A lot more examples, usually very focused ones. You end up creating your own sort of custom version, a tuned model that behaves just how you need it to for that niche task.
So if I had, say, a ton of my own writing, could I tune a model to write more like me?
That's the idea, yeah. You could potentially feed it your work and get it to generate text that captures your specific style or tone. It's about pushing beyond the general purpose stuff.
Fascinating. Okay, this all sounds quite powerful, but is it just for coders? That brings us back to that YouTuber, Wanderloots.
Right, and that's a key point. Wanderloots explicitly says they're not a coder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they've managed to build several actual applications using AI Studio pretty quickly. It really highlights how accessible this stuff might be becoming.
That's impressive. So what did Wanderloots focus on? What capabilities really stood out from their perspective as a non-developer?
They really hammered on the chat functionality, especially with the Gemini 2.5 Pro preview version. The huge context window was a major point. Up to 1 million tokens.
1 million tokens. What does that actually mean in practice? How much information is that?
Well, a token is roughly like a word or part of a word. So 1 million tokens, that's massive. It's like feeding it several large books or an entire complex code base.
Oh.
Wanderloots mentioned being able to drop in whole textbooks or big code repositories and have really detailed conversations about them.
So you can analyze huge amounts of stuff in one go.
Exactly. It just lets the AI understand so much more context around your questions. Think about analyzing research papers while they're references or debugging complex software. It's a game changer for depth.
Yeah, I can see how that would be incredibly useful. What else did Wanderloots find compelling?
The live streaming interaction, that sounded really cool.
Live streaming. You mean like talking to it in real time?
Yeah, voice conversation, currently with the Gemini 2 Flash model. But crucially, you can also share your screen.
Share your screen with the AI.
Yeah, so it can see what you're seeing.
Okay, that's different. What are the implications of that?
Well, Wanderloots gives some great examples, like getting instant feedback on a design you're showing it. Or pointing your phone camera at your fridge and asking for recipe ideas based on what it sees.
No way.
Yeah. Or, maybe more practically for some, getting live coding help while it watches you type.
That's like having a pair programmer who's, well, an AI.
Exactly. That multimodal ability, understanding voice, visuals, code, text all together. It really opens things up. You're not just typing prompts anymore.
Yeah, that feels like a big step. Did they mention video generation? I saw that listed somewhere.
They did, yeah. Using the VO model, it's currently limited 720p resolution for now, but still.
You can describe a video and it makes it.
Pretty much. Give it a text prompt like a dog riding a skateboard on Mars, whatever. You get some basic controls length, aspect ratio, negative prompts to say what you don't want.
Okay, so maybe not Hollywood ready yet,
Hmm.
but cool for quick mock-ups or social clips.
Exactly. And they plan to upgrade the resolution later.
And the app building part. How did Wanderloots manage that without being a coder?
They showed an example building an app to embed YouTube videos into Farcaster, which is a social media thing.
Okay.
And they basically used Google AI Studio itself. Along with the developer docs, apparently there's even an LLM-friendly doc specifically for the AI to read to understand the Farcaster API and get the AI to generate the code they needed.
So the AI helped them write the code for the app.
Essentially, yes, it really shows how these tools can lower the barrier, help people build things, even if coding isn't their main skill.
That's a really powerful use case. Okay, so we've got a good overview now. Let's get practical. How does someone actually start using this? You mentioned an API key.
Right. To use the Gemini API in your own apps or projects, you need that key. It's like your password to access the models.
And Google AI Studio helps you get one.
Yeah, there's a pretty straightforward process within the studio to generate your API key.
Okay, key obtained. Then you jump into the studio itself. What's the interface like? I heard it got an update recently.
It did, yeah. They refreshed it, aiming for a cleaner, more developer-focused feel, easier prompting.
What did that mean practically?
Things like a cleaner layout, a top bar that stays put with common actions, and a dedicated developer dashboard. Makes finding your keys and seeing what's new, like the changelog, much quicker.
Sounds more streamlined. Now, these starter apps caught my eye. What's the deal with those?
Yeah, the starter apps are really interesting. They're basically fully working sample applications that show off what Gemini can do.
Like demos?
More than demos. The key thing is you can actually edit the code right there in Google AI Studio.
Oh, really? Inside the platform?
Yes. So you can see how they work, copy them, tweak them, learn from them, and even integrate bits into your own stuff. It's much more hands-on.
That sounds incredibly useful for learning or just getting ideas off the ground quickly. What kinds of apps are we talking about?
They've got a growing gallery, over 10 now apparently. Things like Video Toys uses Gemini 2.5 Pro to understand YouTube videos and make little educational games from them.
Okay, that's clever.
Or Gemini OS, which is kind of fun, a retro computer interface like an old OS, but powered by Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Huh, nice. What else?
Let's see, a GIF maker using Gemini 2.0 Flash's image generation, a spatial understanding app that shows how the AI sees objects in pictures, drawing boxes around them, even a code drawing app where you draw together with Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Wow, quite a range. So they're not just toys, they really demonstrate core capabilities like video understanding, image generation, interaction.
Exactly. And because you can jump right into the code, it's like getting interactive blueprints. You can learn by dissecting something that already works, which is often way better than just reading docs.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's circle back to that chat feature and the massive context window with Gemini 2.5 Pro. Wanderlud seemed really impressed. Beyond just stuffing more info in, what difference does that huge window make?
It allows the AI to hold so much more in its working memory, basically. So when you ask a question or give it a task, it can consider a much broader context.
So it understands connections better.
Yes, exactly. Wanderlutz mentioned analyzing technical manuals or legal documents. Imagine feeding it a whole stack of case law and asking it to find precedents. It can potentially see connections across all those documents simultaneously. Or analyzing a complex code base, understanding how different modules interact.
Right, it's not just looking at isolated bits of text. It gets a more holistic view. And that Farcaster app example Wanderlutz built.
Yeah, that really showed it in action. They fed the AI, the Farcaster docs, even that special LLM-friendly one, and used the AI to figure out the API and spit out the code needed, even without being an expert on that specific platform beforehand.
That's lowering the barrier to entry significantly. Now, you mentioned comparisons. How does that million token window stack up against other tools out there right now?
Wanderlutz did a quick comparison. They noted Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is capable, but the free plan has a smaller context window. And they mentioned Notebook LM, another Google tool, which can handle huge amounts of text, like 25 million words, across different sources, but it's currently using an older Gemini model.
So AI Studio with Gemini 2.5 Pro has the edge right now for that combination of large context window and the latest model capabilities.
Seems to be the case, yeah. especially for tasks needing deep understanding of large single documents or code bases.
Makes sense. Okay, let's talk about that live streaming and multimodal stuff again. It just sounds so futuristic.
It really does feel like a step change. The voice chat is one thing, but adding screen sharing.
Yeah, the screen sharing is wild.
It moves interaction beyond just text. You can show the AI what you mean. Think about debugging code. You show it the error message, the lines of code, you talk it through.
Or getting design feedback. Show it in your mock-up.
Exactly. Or Wanderloot's example of looking in the fridge. It's about the AI understanding the world more like we do through multiple senses, or at least multiple data types, visual, auditory, textual.
It feels much more like a collaborator in that scenario.
Precisely. It could potentially transform how we learn, create, solve problems. Imagine getting live feedback on your presentation slides as you make them.
Yeah, the potential is huge. And the VO video generation, even at 720p, it's still pretty neat. How does that work again?
You just type a description, astronaut playing guitar on the moon. It uses the VO model to generate a short clip. You can tweak the length, aspect ratio, use negative prompts.
Negative prompts, like no clouds.
Exactly. Make it sunny, no clouds. And Google says higher resolution is coming. It's early days for this tech, but it's developing fast.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, we mentioned fine-tuning earlier as the more advanced option. Why would you go beyond just prompting or giving it documents in chat?
Fine-tuning is about baking your specific knowledge or style into the model itself, not just letting it reference external documents, but fundamentally changing its internal parameters based on your data.
So it's more deeply integrated.
Yes. Imagine you run a support center and have thousands of chat logs. You could fine-tune a model on those logs so it intrinsically understands your customers' common issues and your company's preferred way of responding. It internalizes that knowledge.
Ah, I see the distinction. Chat lets it read the info. Tuning lets it learn the info more deeply.
That's a good way to put it. AI Studio provides the tools to upload your data sets and manage that tuning process.
Very powerful for customization. Now, a practical point. If people start building apps in AI Studio, especially ones others might use, any security pitfalls?
Big one. Protect your API key.
Right, don't just paste it into your app's code.
Definitely not if the app code is running on the user's device or browser client side. Anyone could potentially find it. The better way is usually to have a middle step, like a secure server side that holds the key and makes the calls to the Gemini API on behalf of the app.
Okay, good advice. Keep the keys safe on your end. So thinking about all these features, who really benefits from AI Studio? Wanderloot's mentioned a few groups.
Yeah, a real mix. Students, definitely. For research, summarizing, maybe making study aids or quiz apps, content creators, brainstorming, repurposing stuff, turning a blog post into video ideas, that kind of thing. Generating drafts.
Makes sense.
Developers, obviously. Great for rapid prototyping, testing API calls, debugging, maybe even getting boilerplate code written.
Speeds things up.
And business folks, too. Automating workflows, building internal tools like custom chatbots, maybe doing some quick data analysis.
It really does sound like a versatile platform. And that personal project Wanderloot's built, the image generator for their notes.
The digital garden thing, yeah. That was a great example of a really specific personal need being solved. Automatically creating those preview images for sharing notes online shows the potential for niche creative uses, too.
And it wasn't just about the end product, right? Wanderloot's also talked about the learning process.
Absolutely. They emphasize that even if you're not aiming to become a full-time coder, wrestling with the AI to build something, figuring out why the code it generates works or doesn't work, that's a powerful way to learn programming concepts.
Like learning by doing, with an AI assistant.
Exactly. An interactive way to understand logic, APIs, debugging.
Now, inside the studio, when you're prompting the AI, how much can you tweak its behavior? Are there settings?
Oh yeah, quite a few. There's temperature, which controls creativity versus predictability. Low temp means more focused, maybe safer answers. High temp means more wild, creative, sometimes unexpected outputs.
Okay, so you can dial the creativity up or down?
Yep. You can also tell it to output in specific structures, like JSON format, which is great for apps. You can allow it to run code snippets you give it, use function calling to connect it to other tools or APIs.
Function calling, like telling it to use a calculator or look something up elsewhere.
Sort of, yeah. Or maybe call your company's internal database API. You can also ground its answers with Google Search, so it uses up-to-date web info, and controlled response length. Lots of levers to pull.
That sounds really flexible. And finally, saving your work. Can you keep track of your prompts and projects?
Yes, you can save prompts. There's even an autosave option. And the cool part is saved stuff goes into your Google Drive.
So it integrates with your other Google stuff.
Exactly. Which means you could potentially start something in AI Studio, save it, and then open that conversation or code in, say, Notebook LM to analyze it alongside other notes or research you have stored there.
That integration sounds really smooth for workflow. Okay, this has been a fantastic deep dive. Let's try and pull the main threads together. What's the big picture on Google AI Studio?
Well, it's clearly positioned as a really accessible yet powerful gateway to Google's latest Gemini AI models. It brings experimenting, prototyping, and even building real applications into a web browser.
Right. User-friendly, but with serious capabilities under the hood. From simple chats to structured data, video, app building.
And those starter apps now make it even easier to get going, providing working code examples you can tinker with directly. The whole UI refresh seems aimed at smoothing the path for developers, but also making it less intimidating for newcomers.
And that massive context window in the Gemini 2.5 Pro preview seems like a standout feature right now.
Definitely. That ability to process and understand huge amounts of information really opens doors for complex analysis and development tasks, setting it apart from some other tools, at least for now.
So whether you're trying to automate something, build a prototype, maybe learn to code, or just explore what AI can do, it feels like a really potent tool to have.
Yeah, the potential for both non-coders to create things and for experienced developers to work faster is pretty compelling. Feels like it's lowering barriers.
It really does seem to be democratizing access to some very advanced AI.
Exactly. It puts powerful tools into more hands.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. For everyone listening, we definitely recommend checking out Google AI Studio for yourself. Dive into the documentation, play with those starter apps, try prompting it for something you care about, see what happens.
Yeah, experiment. And as these AI platforms keep evolving so quickly, tools like AI Studio are making it possible for almost anyone to engage with this technology, which leads to a final thought, perhaps.
Go on.
With tools like this becoming more accessible, capable of understanding complex instructions, generating code, even analyzing visuals, what kind of problems, big or small, could you now tackle? What new ideas could you bring to life that maybe seemed out of reach before?